Come on in the room. Come on in the room. The Bucks win it tonight, or this afternoon, excuse me. 141, 135 over the Detroit Pistons. Come on in the room. Adrian is our doctor. He writes out all our scriptures. He gives us all of our medicine in our room. Bucks win it 141, 135. We are live. It's the Cream City crossover. The Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Hey, everybody's in the building today,
Yes, sir.
this afternoon. It's a marvelous, a great day as the Bucks win at 141, 135 of the Detroit Pistons. We're glad you're watching us. You can get your comments in at TCIIIESQ or as well in the YouTube section. Talk to us about this 6-point win over the Detroit Pistons. I know there's a lot of people who are upset that the Milwaukee Bucks won today because you want to be able to cry. Why can't I cry over the Bucks losing so I can cry more about the head coach? I want to cry. I hate this. So many Bucks fans hate their own basketball team. That's sad. A lot of you guys are sad and you're upset right now that you wanted the Bucks to lose to Detroit Pistons. But no. We don't provide that for you. So you out here looking like JT. You seen Good Times? You remember when you ain't seen you seen Good Times? When James Evans died and Florida said, damn. That's how they feeling right now that they aren't able to cry about Adrian Griffin getting fired because it's another win for the Bucks and they're 29-13. Is that a record, 29-13?
29-13. Can't call for a coach's job when he's 29-13. You don't have the haters.
You can call for it. That's what they do. They call them for it, but it don't work. It falls upon deaf ears. 141, 135. The Bucks win it tonight. It was a high-scoring affair in Detroit, in downtown Detroit, the Little Caesars Arena. And you know what it's time for? It's time to do a little game recap sponsored by the law offices of Daly M. Johnson. When you need defense, where you need that defense, JT? Off the court.
Off the court. Yes, sir.
Because you giving up 135, there ain't much defense on the court. But let me tell you, the law office of Daly M. Johnson will give you that defense off the court. You know what it is, man. You got a big time Packers game coming up. You might be throwing back a couple cold ones. You might be doing whatever you're doing as you're getting ready for the Packers playing the 49ers tonight. Listen, don't get yourself a traffic or OWI offense. But if you do have some type of traffic offense in the Madison area, somewhere around there, South Central, Service Central and South Central Wisconsin. Anything around there that happens, traffic, OWI, criminal defense, TROs, injunctions, civil litigation, small claims, you hit up my guy, Daly M. Johnson. He's going to get you right. 608-893-8370. He's based out of Madison, Wisconsin. You can go to his website at www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up there for a free phone or in-person consultation, and he will make sure you get your needs handled. 141, 135 game recap. Scoring was abundant tonight. How about Dame Lillard? 45-11 tonight with 6 boards to go with it and efficient. 12 of 22 from 22 shots, 45 points. That is efficient. 5 of 11 from 3, 16 of 16 from the line. Absolutely monster game for him. Giannis messed around, almost got a triple-double, 31, 10, and 9. He was 10 of 16, 62% from the field. However, he was, 11 of 22 from the line. Chris Middleton, 17, 5, and 4. Don't forget about him. Don't forget about Brook Lopez, 19, 10, and 4. And Malik Beasley added 11 points as well. He was 1 for 4 from 3, 5 and 9 from the field. The Bucks bench did not give them a lot. Pat Connaughton was the high man, 10 points for him, 2 points for Jay Crowder, 4 points for Bobby Portis. And he had 2 points from Andre Jackson Jr. He did have 7 boards. On the other side, Detroit put up a lot of scoring as well. Jay Ivey with 18. Alec Burks was the high man. He led the way. 33, 7 boards, 6 assists. He looked like an absolute playmaker. Only played 30 minutes tonight. I mean, it's one of those games where, I mean, if you're Detroit, I don't know what Monty Williams. I listen, and not that I think Detroit should have won the basketball game. I don't think the game was ever in doubt, but just some of the decisions that he made. Alec Burks is absolutely cooking again. He had 33.7 boards, 6 assists. He was 7 of 14 from 3. I don't know how he only plays 30 minutes. He took him out to some weird substitution patterns. I didn't understand that. Asura Thompson, 22 and 9. He had a great game. Muscala had a great game as well, 13 points. And then, of course, you had Jay Ivey with 18. You had Jalen Duren with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and Bogdanovich with 19 points as well. Killian Hayes is kind of trash. 2 points, 5 assists for him. I know he had a lot of hype coming out of college, but I haven't really seen it from Killian Hayes as how good he is or what he's going to be. Marcus Sasser has some decent moments as well. He lit up the Bucks the last time they played. Not as much tonight. He had 9 points, 5 assists. The story of this game, JT, for me was the Milwaukee bench. I mean, I don't know what the final numbers were, but when I last checked, it was like 80-19. Detroit had won the bench battle, scoring off of the bench. It looked, I mean, that was how the game kind of went to me, where the starters, and especially there was a moment, John and Chris, in the second quarter where the Bucks were down, I believe, 7. And there was about 3 minutes to go, and I remember tweeting, I said, okay, so the Bucks need to keep it around, this margin. They need to keep it around here or better as they go into the second half. And they did just that. They got themselves to where they were up 3 at the half after Detroit hit 3 after 3 after 3. And then, this thing kept going. The Bucks were up 10, midway through the third. So you think that's going to continue, and the Bucks played well, and then the bench unit starts to come in and trickle in, and the threes start hitting back for Detroit. And again, just the deep. I will say, I make a lot of jokes about Adrian Griffin and people calling for his job and whatnot. But the defense, listen, and we said this the other day, and then we clipped the video. I think Chris clipped one of the videos where we said this is the Bucks defense. They are not good. They're going to win games because of their offense. And John Horst is going to make trades. So when I see these types of scores, it doesn't matter. It's not like, well, can you believe the Bucks are giving up these points to Detroit or to? They give them up to anybody. But the difference is, it's not like they can only score against the Detroits. They score like this against anybody as well. They're going to score against Boston. They're going to score against Cleveland. They're going to score against whatever defense you put up against them. They're also going to give up points to whatever offense you put up against them. So just because you give up 30 points to Alec Burks, it's not like you're giving up 60 to somebody else. You give up the same 30 to Jalen Brunson or whoever it is. The Bucks just give up points, but they also score points. So some of it is energy, some of it is effort, some of it is not getting a second chance points, some of it is the bench is not as well. But John Horst will make moves. He will do it. I'm fine with this basketball team because so many times they find ways to win, and in the clutch, when the game gets into balance, they seem to play a lot better. They did that tonight. Damian Lillard, as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo, did what they needed to do, and the Bucks did get the win tonight. Did everything that they had to do to finish this one out. 141-135. JT, what did you see?
Yeah, agree with everything that you just said. My thing about tonight, there's a couple things I want to point out. Right, we talked about this when we talked about Batman, Superman, wherever. Right, Giannis, something with that shoulder, didn't fully seem right. Having said that, right, it was an awful free throw shooting tonight for Giannis, and I'm going to assume the shoulder attributes the shoulder a little bit to that. 11-22 from the line, but how about Damian Lillard, man? 13 points in the third quarter. This went absolutely crazy, and I think at one point he had scored like 10 straight points for the Bucks as well in that quarter. You love to see it. You love to see this 45-point game. You love to see that, right? This is what Damian Lillard gives you offensively that Jrue Holiday cannot, right? And this is what we've all been saying this whole time. Other thing I want to point out, Dame goes 16 for 16 from the free throw line. Wow. When is the last time we've seen a player anything near that with the Bucks? I mean, that is absolutely remarkable. And, right, if I do a little math here, Dame took 16 free throws tonight, right? 4 players on the Bucks total took 16. So Dame took 16, Giannis took 22, Chris took 6, Brooke took 5. Yeah, I mean that so Dame took well over half of this team's free throws tonight. I think actually right at half. Half of all the free throws tonight. Giannis had 11 for 22. Listen, this bench is a concern. We have talked about it. We could say it till we're blue in the face. You talked about it earlier. The disparity was at 80-18. I think is what you're talking about too. This is bad. We need some depth pieces again. Bobby Portis tonight. Just not really much of an impact. Only took 2 shots, right? Played 17 minutes, took 4 shots, played 17 minutes, didn't really do much. Pat Connaughton had one of his best games of the season. Now, that's not saying a whole lot, right? But he was 4 for 5 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line, 10 points. I mean, yes, I'm not saying this is something to write home about, but listen, when you look at Pat's recent performances all year, this is one of the stronger ones we've seen. Wonder if that does anything to inspire his trade value, maybe not. Andre Jackson Jr., rookie, there were made some plays tonight, but again, offensively, really just is not giving you much. And I will say it does seem like Crowder came a little bit back down to earth after we saw him in his last game. We saw him returning from 8 weeks, and then, today it looks like maybe there's a little bit of rust there. Just didn't look very strong.
Yeah, Just to piggyback off of what you said about Giannis and Dame getting to the free throw line, it's good to see that they have that maturity to take over games and they have that chemistry already to just go aggressive at these younger teams and at these other squads to where they're sending you to the line in the clutch time. So it's not just the clutch defense about this Bucks team; it's also clutch offense, I believe. So that was good. And then other than that, I thought I saw a lot of laziness out there tonight when it comes to the defensive end. A lot of straight line drives. Jaden Ivey was eating. He played really well, and then Alec Burks, they had trouble following him around screens. He was getting loose a lot, so I thought that was lazy. And then even I can't just prop up Giannis. Like I have to kind of give him some criticism. I thought that a couple of the shots he took from mid range and from three were just they were stupid. Like they were up six at one point, and he shot a three in transition. Like what are we doing? Because then the Pistons come back down and they score and they try to get themselves back in the game. He took another mid range shot at the top of the key where in a night where you just don't have it from the jumper, I don't want to see him testing it even more than he should. So saw that from Giannis too. Didn't really like that, but other than that, I mean, just glad they were able to pull out the win against a really bad team.
Yeah, a lot of good thoughts from both of you there. Bucks win at 141, 135 of the Detroit Pistons. I will say, Chris, in Giannis's defense, he only took one three. I remember the three that you're talking about in that jump shot. I thought there was a three, and again, so it's Dame, and he had 45, and he hit half his three, so I kind of couldn't get upset with it. But he took one early in the clock, where it's like a couple minutes left, and actually let. I think the Bucks were up like 8 or something like that, or maybe it was 6. I can't remember. But he took an early three, a couple minutes left, missed it, and it was a long rebound, created a long transition break for Detroit that they scored off of, and I believe they might have got an N1 or got fouled, something like that. There's one of those shots where it's like, it's Dame, so you can't be mad, but when you miss those shots, those things are just kind of tough when you don't make them. So there were some bonehead decisions. I agree with it. Get to some of your comments here on the YouTube. Robert Henry says, "What's up, fellas? Definitely needed this against the Pistons, though they're the worst team in the NBA. No, absolutely they are, and that's why the Bucks beat them. Go ahead."
He's right. He's 100%. He's 100% right. And I was going to say, man, we talk about right taking the pretty, taking the gritty with the pretty, but at the end of the day, right, like this is one of the worst teams. They are an NBA team, but we found a way to win this game, and that is important. And we got to put some respect on Dr. Griffin's name because he does indeed deserve some credit for that. We could have
Um,
dropped this game. There were numerous opportunities we had to do. We had numerous chances to drop this game, and we did not.
Well, and that's the thing to me. I tweeted after the game. I said never in doubt because to me the game, yeah, in theory, could you lost it? Yes, but the Bucks are too good. They're not going to lose to a Detroit Pistons team unless something just goes wrong. Kyle and Racine, appreciate you. Listen to 97.3 The Game this morning. You're back with us on the Triple C's Cream City crossover. Always doing double duty. So good stuff, Kyle. Says Bucks lose by 40 to Cleveland. It's fine. Giannis didn't play. Bucks barely beat Detroit, giving up 131 to the worst team in the NBA. It's fine. They don't play defense. So I don't know if you're, well, if you're saying that again. That's how I think of it. I'm not sure if you're kind of in the same mode where you're saying it's fine. Um, Again, the reason I'm saying it's fine is because two things. One, I know this is not the basketball team the Milwaukee Bucks are going to take into the playoffs. Two, the Bucks are one of the most clutch teams in the NBA. And so you saw, I don't know if everybody was watching that Denver and Boston game the other night. I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but that game was very interesting. And I'm watching it, and Boston is like the exact opposite of the Milwaukee Bucks. So all the problems that we see and that we talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston doesn't have those problems. All of the good things that the Bucks do at the end of the games, Boston has those problems. So again, to me, the question is, who do you want to be? Would you rather be a team that plays well in the first 42 minutes of the game, and if the game's in a balance, you get lost? Think about the game the Bucks lost to Boston. They lost by 3 early in the season. Not the one they blew them out by 40, but even that game, the Boston was up like 10-15 for the majority of the basketball game. End of the game comes down, and the Bucks whittle down that lead so quickly. Again, it ended up being right in the balance, and the Bucks kind of ran out of time. So, would you rather be that team that through 40 minutes of the game you're great, and in the last 8 minutes, hey, we're stumbling through. Tatum don't know who he's going to. We don't know if we're going what we're doing. Or would you be that? Would you rather be a team first 40 minutes? You might play around a little bit. With 8 minutes to go, you buckle down, and it goes Dame, Giannis, pick and roll. Here comes Giannis into think about the first half of this game, and I thought the Detroit Pistons did a great job. And I give Giannis a lot of credit, and I don't know if this goes to just to Giannis or also to Dr. Griffin, but the Detroit Pistons ran a wall. They ran three people at Giannis for a majority of the night to start the half. I don't think Giannis. I think he might have had double-digit points, but he didn't have a ton of points at the end of the first half. He just didn't. But I think he had like 6 or 7 assists. He's getting the ball out, and in the second half, he broke through the wall a little bit. So again, and everybody starts to cook. The Bucks' offense is so good, and tonight is just another indication of that. I know as the Detroit Pistons, they gave up a lot of points. But when you see this offense, I mean, they just cook on all cylinders. And when the game comes to the balance, and not just we talked about it. Into the first half, Bucks went on a run. Into the second half, Bucks went on a run. Detroit played pretty well throughout the game, up and down, shot the ball well. But late in the games, they just couldn't overtake the powers of Giannis and Dame.
I agree with all that, and we'll say you're 100% right. This Bucks offense, you got guys on this team that can get buckets, right? Tonight you had 6 guys going double figures tonight, which I think is incredible. Even guys who had quiet nights, like Malik Beasley, he really didn't do a whole lot tonight, right? Goes 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 from the 3-point land, right? Finishes with 11 points. But I really didn't see. I just don't remember a lot of impactful plays from Malik Beasley tonight. And then even, Pat on the bench, right? Getting buckets, getting his 10 points in there as well and kind of doing his thing. Brook Lopez, 1 for 4 3-point land tonight, but still a lot of impactful points, getting points in the paint there, finished with 19. You do have a lot of weaponry on this Bucks team. Now, one question I do want to ask is, wait, hold on. You're not going to pause me for the weaponry, are you?
I didn't say nothing about weaponry.
Oh, okay. I thought you just made it look. I was like, oh, no, he ain't doing that, right?
You didn't say they got big swords running around. You said weaponry.
All right, here we go.
I'm not pausing for I don't know what kind of weapons you're talking about. You good?
Oh man. But one thing, does anybody know why Campaign didn't play?
Because he stinks.
Well, yeah, right. But
no, I'm just joking.
I'm just because I'm looking at the
he stuck there with Marjan.
He didn't get reassigned. They didn't reassign Cam.
No, I'm saying no. Marjan was back on the bench. No. I'm not saying he got reassigned. I'm just saying he's stuck on the bench with Marjan because.
Well, that's the thing though about the Pistons. That they have big guards that I don't know if Campaign would fare any better than anybody else that was already out there in the first place. And if he's not providing that scoring punch that Dame can, then there's really no reason to put him out there, I believe.
I mean, I would agree with you. I would just think that listen, like Campaign, even the game, like you give him 10 minutes, see what he's got, right? See if he's got some run. But you're right. I mean, he has. Against bigger guards, I think he would struggle there. But I do find it interesting that he got 0 burn at all tonight.
Yeah, no, I think that Dr. Griffin. And here's another thing that I'll talk about that I think the experiment. And again, it's the regular season, so I don't have an issue with experimenting with things. That lineup. So a lot of people talked about the lineup where in the fourth quarter, typically, so the Bucks rotations are pretty much set. Dame plays the first 12 minutes, entire first quarter, entire third quarter. He usually comes in the second with about 5-6 minutes to play. And then the fourth, they kind of play it by ear. So sometimes the Bucks playing well, he might not come into about the 6-minute mark, 7-minute mark. If they're not playing well, he jumps in about the 8-9-minute mark. Giannis has a couple more rests that they try to incorporate within those moments to stagger just a bit. But typically, to start the fourth quarter, both Giannis and Dame are not on the floor at the same time. And what Dr. Griffin has tried to do, and I don't blame him because I thought this was a decent idea to get your guys a couple rests. It's almost like he tries to steal like 3 or 4 minutes with Chris Middleton and like some kind of bench lineup in there. And it has worked at times. I would say the majority of times I've seen it not work with Chris Middleton trying to basically be the best player on the floor with a bunch of bench guys on both teams and sustain and keep leads. I believe the Bucks are up, 5 or 6 points to start the fourth this afternoon. And then you look up, and by the time Giannis comes back in, and it literally took like 2 minutes, and the Bucks were down a bucket because I think Muscala hit a 3 and Bogey hit a 3, something like that. So maybe he has to think about that experiment ending with no Giannis, no Dame to start the fourth. And people get upset about it, but I mean that's the way kind of that Mike Malone does it in Denver. He doesn't have Joker start the fourth either to start out to end games. But I think it's one of those things where you've tried it it doesn't work, and maybe you have to think about, okay, I know Dame, you want to start off playing on the game, playing the entire quarter. We could do that in the first, but in the third, I may have to sit you at that 9-10 minute mark because I especially in a close game, because I might have to get you in to start the fourth. Or Giannis, I need you to start the fourth, something like that. Because I will say, Mike Budenholzer, what he typically did was have, I believe, Giannis start the fourth, or at least one combination of Giannis Drew start the fourth, and then Giannis would actually take a break. Like his 2 minute stint would come in the middle of the fourth, so he'd start the fourth, play 6 minutes, take a break, and then come back at like the 4 minute mark, and that was his 2 minute stretch that he would take. So I'm just saying, I think there's things that you have to think about as far as just continuity and not making it harder on yourself. If Chris Middleton's not going to be a guy that can sustain an offense or a team on his own for even 3 minutes of a quarter.
True, very true. But again, but that also goes to some of the luxuries that you have as being a coach of a team with guys that are so talented, guys that can. Man, this thing keep falling down. My bad. Lost my train of thought here. Guys who do give you that flexibility and that ability to position yourself for
JT playing the Pistons today too.
Say what?
I said JT was playing the Pistons today too.
Man, yeah. All right, guys. Oh, okay.
Let me get to another comment here. Gibson Nicholas says this team is playing well at all this season with Griffin as head coach. Not good. Oh Lord. Need Nate McMillan to coach this Bucks team. Bad, please, Nate McMillan. Hold on. Okay, let me just and so Gibson, so Gibson does say, so he's gonna show some love back. He says, by the way, guys, I'm from the Bahamas. Yeah, man. Love, listen, was that racist? I don't know. Was that? No, I'm good with the impression. Am I good with the impression? My bad. If that was right. I tried. My bad.
That's why people hate Americans.
Yeah.
He just said he's from the Bahamas. He loves listening.
But he might be from like Milwaukee, chilling in the Bahamas for a weekend or something, like watching the show. Like we're just assuming the man is Bahamian.
He put the flag. So
he put the flag. Yeah, he put the flag. He's definitely.
But is MON a Bahama thing, or is that your man? What? Oh,
isn't it?
Listen.
Mom.
Man, we in a bad. Oh,
okay,
anyway,
I'm done. But no, but excuse me.
Saturday.
Oh man, I'm killing myself. Yeah, it's Saturday, man. It's playoff football. On. So, but let me get back on track here. So he said. So again, appreciate you listening to the show and watching us. He says other guys have to step up and help this team, or we're going to lose, or we're going to lose games. I'll say this on the Nate McMillan thing. Didn't he just get kicked out of Atlanta? Didn't he just get run out of Atlanta by a superstar? Did I remember that? Did he get fired from Indiana? Like I'm not a big guy on retreads, and again that goes, and I will say I'm not going to harp on this Adrian Griffin thing because I just don't think the discourse is great to keep going every other game, especially after wins. But it's just so clear every time I hear things that we don't have a plan. If you want to tell me Adrian Griffin's not the best coach, I'm okay with that. For this back, I'm fine hearing it, but you don't have a plan. And when you're telling me your plan is Nick McMillan, that's not a plan. You tell me Joe Prunty, that's not a plan. You tell me Terry Stott, not a plan. Kenny Atkinson is coaching the Golden State Warriors right now. He's not leaving in the middle of the year to come help out Milwaukee. It's not going to happen. So, and I'll tell you this, we said this before. We didn't bring Adrian Griffin in to beat the Detroit Pistons by 30. Would you have felt better about beating Detroit by 30 and hold them to 90 points? Sure. Does that do anything for what's going to happen in May? Let me ask, if the Milwaukee Bucks won 130-96 today and beat down the Detroit Pistons, would that have any bearing or any impact on what's going to happen in April and May and hopefully into June for the Milwaukee Bucks? I say it doesn't.
I would agree with that, but I also would say that, listen, guys, when you talk about calling for Adrian Griffin to be fired, right? You are effectively saying, one, that you think an interim head coach can take over this team and do a decent job, which is completely delusional when you look at who's on this Bucks bench. And then two, you're calling for another head coach to be hired, right? So effectively, including interims, this coach would have 4 head coaches within a 1-year period? Guys, I mean, that is like the epitome of organizational dysfunction. Why would you say that? Like, think about all the ramifications that go into this. You want to fire a guy because he's 29 and 13 because it's not the way you want it to look. It's not the way you like. Then you're going to suggest then you're going to clearly uh, kind of admit that we don't have anybody in house that can replace him and do anywhere near the job he's doing. And then you will talk about opening up the coaching search. I mean, guys, this just sounds a bit. It sounds very short sighted. And I think I have not seen anyone make an argument that it's in the best interest of the Bucks, looking at this thing holistically, to get rid of Adrian Griffin, because we think things look slightly shaky despite the fact that the team is 29-13 right
And yeah, and we'll see. And to your point, we'll see what happens. This team is going to be judged based upon how they play in the playoffs. And again, if you want to, we can revisit this once the Bucks season ends. We can talk about this, but right now, like I said, JT, it's just not inducive to good thoughts. Rated R Noob, Justin from NC says 2 out of 3 of the Wisconsin Sports Day done. Marquette did their job. Bucks did their job. Pistons are still pros and played a hell of a game, but we stayed the course. Now let's go get that last leg. Wouldn't it be great if like DraftKings was in Wisconsin? That'd have been great if Wisconsin had. Have you ever seen those when they come up on like DraftKings or what's the other one? FanDuel, and it'll be like, because I've been in Illinois before. It'll be like, oh, it's the Illinois special, and like you'll have whatever, it's like the Bulls and the Cubs playing on the same day, or the Blackhawks, and you're just trying to figure, you can play those 3-leg parlays for your favorite sports team. This would have been a great day to have a 3-leg, money line Marquette, Marquette,
now.
Bucks,
Packers,
and then
Bucks.
Packers. That'd have been fun. One. I don't know if that third leg's gonna get done, but I know you probably didn't watch this movie. I know Chris, you didn't watch it. You ever seen a movie called Mars Attacks? Mars Attacks?
Nah,
You never seen Mars
I've seen
Attacks?
it now.
Underrated sci-fi thriller. Jack Nicklaus was in the movie, and and so basically these Martians came down and we're going crazy, killing everybody. And Jack Nicklaus was the president, and he was basically just saying because they had taken down like Congress and they had taken down the judicial branch, legislative branch, but the president was still alive, and he was like, "You got 2 out of 3." No, I can't remember. I messed that up. But it was funny. I'm telling you, watch Mars Attacks. If everybody ever seen it, let me know. Back into the comments though. XOXO, I messed that up. My bad. XOXO26 says we're in a dogfight with the Pistons. The Pistons, a team with 4 wins all season. Shaking my damn head. Listen, I don't know. Again, you can. It was a dogfight by the score. Again, to me, the game was never in doubt. It wasn't. To me, it wasn't a dogfight. The score was close, but the Bucks were going to win that game. To me, there was not one chance the Bucks didn't win that game. To me, they were in control throughout the game. My opinion.
Yeah,
And I also want to mention that we are in, and Chris, I want you to go, but I also do want to mention, listen, we are in that 40 to 60 game stretch of the season. Weird stuff happens. It certainly is not indicative of the state of this team right now. And sometimes, listen, this is the NBA. Guys are going to have rough nights. Guys are going to, I mean, you know, Giannis shoots his free throws at 70%. This win is a lot more convincing. But at the end of the day, I think that we have to keep in mind that guys are tired. This is when injuries happen. This is when a team may sneak an upset win here. This is when good teams drop close ones. I mean, at the end of the day, we came out on the right side here, despite the fact that the Pistons are terrible and that we are great.
yeah, and I'll say that they obviously played out of their minds. Getting Muscala was huge for them, I guess. Him coming over and he actually played pretty well tonight. And obviously Alec Burks going for what do you have over 25, whatever it was.
Like 33.
Hooped. Yeah, like 33. So he hooped. These are pros like Justin Ferenczi, great listener by the way. That's my guy. But yeah, like they're still pros and they can still knock down shots, especially when you're playing poor defense. So it's good to get the win. I never thought we were gonna lose that one either.
Snakey973 says, I admire the optimism you guys have, but we are halfway through the season now, and the Bucks are looking weak with the 8th toughest schedule ahead in the NBA. Now here's what I'll say to that, Snakey. And again, I am optimistic. I think we are as a group, the Creams of the Crossover. It's been a pretty optimistic group from our perspective, especially when you look at other fans and what I've seen online. Halfway through the season, and the funny part about what I've been hearing was so much. It was, well, the Bucks have the easiest schedule in the NBA. It's the easy schedule. It's the easy schedule. And now all of a sudden, it's, well, they have the 8th toughest schedule ahead, and so the Bucks are finding ways to win. And they're still on a 56 game win pace right now with that schedule. So I'm telling you what's happening. We're halfway through, and the Bucks record is what it is. You're gonna look up. The Bucks gonna have 50 wins, and what they will have had, that half. They again, because it's the NBA. Strength of schedule is not a thing in the NBA. So once it gets to, everybody's played 82 games, everybody's played the same teams virtually. So strength of schedule is just not that big of a deal, and the Bucks are going to have 50 plus wins when they get to that mark. And you're going to look up, and you can't use strength of schedule as well. That's why they won 50 games. That's just not going to be a thing. So again, the Bucks basketball team, they're very good. EXO saying that they're softer than Charmin tissue. They need clear leaders. They need a Marcus Smart or a Draymond Green like guy. The team is soft. Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I don't think they're soft. I think that they just don't play. They just don't play good defense, and I think they're also old and veterans. And sometimes these old vets, they flip switches, and you'd like to see them play hard every second of the game, but they don't do that. But they find ways to win, and that is what it is. Just like today they found a way to win 141-135.
Yeah, I mean, when you have two guys like Giannis and Dame, obviously you're gonna find ways to win a lot. And I think if they just keep harping on, the final couple minutes of close games, and they keep getting better at that, I think you'll see even more wins.
Luke in Stylist says, I'm convinced they can turn it on and off at will. I'm not even a little worried. At Jay Durze says, glad Bucks won, but 21 threes to a shorthanded team. Always record nights against the Bucks, looking for Horst to get some defensive pieces. At Drew Behringer says, better to win ugly than lose to the Pistons. What you always say, JT?
Man, we're gonna take the gritty with the pretty. Come on now. We're gonna take it with it. You have to. We have to.
BJM69 says the Pistons score 135 and still lose. They are awful. Fear the Beard 000 says Bucks are content exerting minimal energy. Greek Time at Greek Time says Bobby is a role player that has main character syndrome. That's a good one. And Local Deer in a great mood on Twitter says the worst 3-point shooting team in the league shot 57% and nearly broke their franchise record. 85 Pistons bench points. Bucks bench remains a problem. Giannis often looks shaky in these weird afternoon games. Damian Lillard, who cares? A win is a win, especially at 2 p.m. And I agree with some of that. Again, to me, the biggest issue, we talk about the coaches, we can talk about, the defense. I'm more concerned with this Milwaukee Bucks bench and those guys. And that's kind of where I go with it as far as what needs to change. We're gonna let's keep rolling in the show and get to giving out some game balls, and I want to do our look around so that we can talk a little bit about the recent rumors that came out related to the Milwaukee Bucks. Again, so today is a 141-135 victory. Nothing right now on, I believe. Yeah, no games starting until tonight. The Wizards play the Spurs, 76ers and Hornets, Knicks, Raptors, Cavs, Hawks, Thunder, Wolves, Rockets, Jazz, Bulls, Grizzlies tonight. So that'll be some interesting stuff if you're on League Pass. Kyler Racine says Enemy of the State is way better than Mars Attacks. Yeah, it's a better budget.
During, T's and Q's.
Yeah, well, yeah, the enemy, yeah, right. We talk about Enemy of the State on T's and Q's. Yeah, better budget, yes. But Mars Attacks was funny. Mars Attacks is hilarious. I give it to you. Enemy of the State had probably better storyline, better that. But if you just need a good kick around sci-fi laugh, Mars Attacks is one of those movies. But shout out to Kyler Racine for having watched that. That's like a cult classic. If you've seen Mars Attacks, man. Now y'all telling y'all, JT, Crit, find Mars. I don't know what it's streaming on. I bet you it's somewhere. Find Mars Attacks, man. It's funny. Of course, we got the games going on right now. Lamar Jackson just ran in a touchdown. The Ravens are up 17-10 on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, and then of course tonight you got the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. Before we talk about those really quickly, I did want to get. I forgot. We got to do game ball. So I skipped it. Game ball tonight. My game ball is going to Damian Lillard, 100%. I don't know who else I could give it to. Again, 45, 11, and 6. He was on a heater all night long. I'll say this on Dame. This is who the Bucks thought they traded for. There was a funny meme out where it's talking about Terry Rozier has had the same kind of stat line. Oh, can't believe the Bucks traded for Terry Rozier. Yeah, tell Terry Rozier to do this. Tell that. This real Terry Rozier, 45, 11, and 6. That's real Terry Rozier right there, 141, 135 bucks. Who you giving your game ball out to?
Same. Dame, got to give it to Dame tonight 100%. This is a very, very, very strong performance from Dame. Me being old school. Hey, 16 to 16, 16 for 16 from the free throw line, in addition to the stats you just mentioned, 45 points. No, Dame's earned his game ball tonight. Definitely giving it to him.
I may do something that I don't think anybody's done is even in a win, I'll give it to somebody on the Pistons. I'm gonna give it to Alec Burks. Just watching the game, like he looked really good. And I've watched him in New York a little bit when he was there, and I think this is a good spot for him. And I don't know if they'll keep him because they are in such a weird spot as a franchise, but I like him with the ball in his hands. Like he works hard to get his buckets. I think pause. He he works hard to score, and he's a pure shooter, and I love watching. He's like very smooth, as a player. So I'll give it to him. 33 points is that's legit.
He had a good game. Yeah, I give it to him. If they had won, I'd have probably gave him my game ball too. But said he
You
good
guys are
with the
already
balls
on
in his
Dame.
hands. Huh?
Three out of three. I don't know if Dame gets that. Yeah, that's got to be
You
like.
said what? Oh
I don't
yeah,
know if it gets like three
I
games.
respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect it going a different direction. Okay, I prematurely did the look around. So I want to ask you about the rumor that came out with the Bucks potentially trading for Dejounte Murray. Um, so here was basically the rumor, and I believe Chris Haynes was the one who came out with this. Couple things. One, not that the Bucks were interested in Dejounte Murray, and two, that the Bucks were going to be interested in a another guard. That was what his kind of word was related to what the Bucks were doing. And I'll say this, and I want to get your thoughts. When I hear that the Bucks are interested in Dejounte Murray, now for the record, do I think they're going to be able to get Dejounte Murray? I don't know because I don't know because the money that would make sense is Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton. You could also do Marjan. I look at that and I go, that's not even to me. That's not even a realistic trade offer for it. Like I don't know. I just don't know. I know if I was the Bucks, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Hmm.
I don't know why the Atlanta Hawks would want Bobby and Marjan and Pat Connaughton. Like that doesn't make sense to me. So now, what makes sense? Hey, are you giving up? Are you is that Brooke? And are we giving up Brooke and Bobby and Marjan or something like? Are we doing something like that? And then we'll give you back Clint Capella and because you gotta get another big back. We'll give you back Clint Capella and Dejounte Murray. Is that what we're doing? Are we doing something kind of but so I don't know. I just think the pieces don't. I just think you have to do something else to make that happen if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. But my question, or at least what I'm getting out of this is, John Horst is going to swing for the fences. And what I appreciate about John Horst every single year, I know we talked about how he does drafting, but every single year in trades when he gets to the deadline, he's going to do what he needs to do to try and get this team where it needs to be. And so at the very least, it tells me that we are going to be active, that the Bucks are going to be looking on the market. And to me, when you say they want to find a guard, because everybody talked about just getting these big defensive wings and 3-and-D guys. Well, I'm right with John Horst where I do think, because we just talked about the Chris Middleton, starting off with the ball in the fourth quarter. Do you need another guard that you can also bring in? Not just like a guy that's primarily stand and shoot, catch and shoot guy, but a guy who can actually handle the ball a little bit on the perimeter too, and provide that defense that maybe a Malik Beasley cannot.
So look, okay, sure, yes, I love the fact that they're rumored to get Dejounte Murray I think is incredible, right? Because I think Dejounte Murray, is about what 6'5", right? He's I think a great scorer, but I think he can also play some defense. So you're right, and 100% gives you a lot more than Malik Beasley does. Two, can you imagine moving Malik Beasley to the bench? If you do, yes, he does strengthen your bench. If you do have to move Malik Beasley to the bench, and obviously he gets his minutes, comes in as a volume shooter, gets his buckets. I mean, that would be incredible. Now, my issue with the trade though is that Bobby, Pat, Marjan, that doesn't move the needle for Atlanta. But maybe you get a third team involved because Atlanta, Atlanta wants picks. I think what Atlanta wants is first round draft picks, and as the Bucks, you just don't have them to give. You've given up just about all your draft picks. You don't have them, so maybe you get a third team involved, and that can swing this thing. But I do agree with you. I don't think Murray actually ends up in Milwaukee just because I don't think the team has enough to give the Hawks, and more specifically, I don't think the team can give the Hawks what they're looking for.
Yeah, I would agree, especially when you look at where the Hawks are in terms of what they're doing with Trey Young. I know he was rumored to maybe they would be open to going to San Antonio or whatever it is. But if he's the guy, if he's your guy, if he's the all star there that they're gonna keep for a while, then it just wouldn't make sense to pair him up with Bobby, Pat, and Marshawn like that. That's probably not realistic for where the Hawks are at. I love being rumored in it with Dejounte. I think the problem that it forces for the Bucks though is that we just talked about the bench depth being very bad. I don't necessarily know if this makes our bench depth any better. It certainly makes our smaller rotation. When you talk about getting into the playoffs, 7, 8 guys deep, it certainly makes that better. But just as a team as a whole, and your options on the bench would be pretty slim pickings.
Yeah, and like I said, I think removing Pat and Bobby from this team actually might be addition by subtraction, no matter how you do it defensively. But yeah, I agree with you. You're gonna be at those 8 man rotations once you get into the playoffs. So you're right. This is more of a playoff move. Then you also got to think about, okay, what are you gonna do in the buyout market? Maybe again rumored to be in on the PJ Tucker sweepstakes if he gets bought out in LA. So yeah, like I said, I'm just happy to be in the hunt, and that John Horst is going to be making those moves, and that he's going to be looking for different for different options. Robert Henry says, "Can Murray play D as a thing?" Yeah, so I would say Dejounte Murray. If he's actually been an all defense. I think he was second team all defense in 2018 with the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think he's played defense as well, with Atlanta. And I think that's just I think that his role is a little bit different in Atlanta, and so that has kind of changed that. Let me ask you this, JT. We talked about oh, do you want Pat? You want Marshawn? What if somebody says, man, Malik Beasley over there shooting 46% from three? Oh, you want Dejounte Murray? Yeah, I need yeah. Let me get Malik over there. Would you okay with trade Malik Beasley? I know it's your boy.
Okay, are we just going straight up,
No,
Murray
not,
for Beasley, or are we going straight up? Or
huh?
are we
I know
still
you didn't
going
just
in
say
one?
straight up
I
Murray
mean,
for G. I know you didn't
Not
just.
straight up, no.
look, the only reason why I like Malik Beasley, right, the only reason why I think is because he's so inexpensive. I mean, this man is at was he making $2 million this year? Like, I mean,
Correct, but
like,
he's for the record, Malik Beasley more than likely is gone next year. He's played himself. He's gonna get a contract.
oh yeah,
He's gone.
he's gonna get a bag. He's
Yeah.
gonna get a bag. That's what I'm saying. Like, and so, you know, yeah, I mean, at this point, if you had to do somebody like Murray for Beasley, okay. Even though I just feel like wow, like with the way he's shooting in here, and especially how important that's going to be, especially in the playoff series and down the stretch. If you're getting rid of Malik Beasley, you 100% got to find some way to replace that production from three. You do, you definitely do. And honestly, I would say Murray for Bobby, Pat, Marjon, Beasley. That to me seems like that might be a little bit. That's where I think that expense. Yeah, that becomes a little bit more expensive than I would like.
Well, you probably get something back. Like I said, I do think you talk about a young guy. You probably will get something back. And again, you know who's over there in Atlanta? AJ Griffin. We talked about him being a potential target, for Dr. Griffin to get his son, a little nepotism in there. But again, potential young guy who, his role would be clearly defined as, hey, you're a defensive player. You're gonna go out and you're gonna give us some burn, and you're gonna go 110%, and then we're gonna put you, we're gonna sit you back down. So I do think, even if the Bucks go get Dejounte Murray, I do think there should be some smaller moves that they make as well. And I think that ultimately, whatever they do, I believe that more players are going to go out than come back in, because the Bucks don't have an open roster spot right now, and I'm assuming they're going to want to have an open spot to bring in a guy like a PJ Tucker or something like that on the buyout market. I do think they're going to be active with at least one guy on the buyout market to make that happen. So we'll see what happens. Trade deadline's February the 6th, and yeah, we'll wonder how that goes when it does go. XOXO26 says move Chris to the bench. That's not happening. To lead the second unit, and we just talked about he hasn't done a good job leading the second unit. Move Beasley to the bench for scoring in that second unit. Bring in the defensive-minded guys to plug in the starting five. Yeah, no, I think Chris is going to remain a starter no matter what, and then you can kind of play off of that with whatever else, with whatever other moves that you make.
I do wonder what the price will be for like a Dorian Finney-Smith though, because I've seen that around, and I think he would really help the team.
Have you heard the Nets are looking for two first rounders?
Oh yeah, never mind. That's
That's
it.
crazy to me. Man. They're not getting
Right.
two
That's
first
too much.
DFS.
That's dumb. He's
They're out
dumb
of
with
their
that.
minds.
We don't even have
We
that to
have
give.
that.
So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have that number one, but I don't think you're getting two first rounds for Dorian Finney-Smith. But I will say those are the guys, and that might be why. And I think you talked about it, Chris, on the last show. It is much easier to trade for defense at the deadline than it is to trade for offense. So we'll see kind of how that goes. Let's shift gears into I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about Ravens and Texas right here, but we definitely want to talk for a second about the game tonight with the Packers and the 49ers. So just give me some quick playoff thoughts before we let everybody go for the evening to enjoy the rest of the NFL playoffs.
Listen. I think this Packers team. We saw that. We saw the win last week against the Cowboys. Absolutely incredible performance from this Green Bay Packers team. Now this week, this is going to take a lot. You've got pass rushers galore on the San Francisco 49ers D line. You're going to have this offensive line. Like we said this morning, a lot of you're going to have to do what you can to create that pocket and try to sustain that pocket for Jordan Love to give him time, right? Because look at it like this: Jordan Love was sacked 19 times between week 1 and 11. After that, he was only sacked 11. Having said that, Jordan Love, leads the league in touchdowns from with I want to say 23. I think it's 23 touchdowns since week 11 as well. So he can make it happen. He can create. You need you need your offensive line to hold up and protect, but you also need your wide receivers to show up tonight. Last week, what happened last week cannot happen again. Yes, Romeo Dobbs had a great game, but Christian Watson had one catch. Jaden Reed had zero. Yes, you got some production from Wicks in there, but I mean, for the most part, it was just these guys were out there taking up space, right? Even though Christian Watson was getting double and triple covered. I mean, still, guys got to find a way to make plays. Got to rely on the run game. Aaron Jones has to show up tonight. This is a monumental task. Quite honestly, this is a Herculean task for Green Bay tonight. I think this is going to be the biggest challenge they've had all year, and this team's going to have to respond. They're going to have to respond. This is you got to put it all on the table tonight.
I think the X factor in this one is definitely Aaron Jones. If he can start off strong, if he can get that run game going, then I think that the Packers really have a chance. Because, when he was out, the Packers kind of struggled with the run game. A.J. Dillon obviously couldn't get it going as much as Aaron Jones' ceiling is. Like we saw that three rushing touchdowns last week. So if he can get it going, I really like the Packers' chances to at least make it a game.
Yeah, I think they have a puncher's shot tonight. And again, mostly to me because the guy who I had is my last ranked quarterback out of the quarterbacks left is Brock Purdy, and so I think they're gonna have a shot. They have to their offense has to play extremely well. They got to be able to keep San Francisco off of the field because again, San Francisco just has so many dynamic offensive weapons around their quarterback, and so yeah, you got to be able to run the ball well. You have to be able to protect Jordan Love, and guys got to make plays. I don't think that the Packers are gonna have enough tonight to get a dub, but you never know how these things are gonna start. Maybe interception here, interception there. You get a couple stops, and you're able to really get to Brock Purdy, make him make some mistakes, and make him get out of his game manager mode, make him force him to try to play like a game changer. And maybe who knows? Who knows? You never know. I think John, you said it earlier on 97 through the game. If you can get to that point, and if you're a Packers team, you can win tonight. You can 100%. You have as good a shot as anybody is getting yourself to the Super Bowl.
I would agree with that, especially because Tampa Bay and Detroit, two very beatable teams, and one of which you would face in the next round if you do win tonight. So yeah, no, Green Bay. Green Bay wins this game, and the possibilities are endless for the conclusion of the season.
I will say, regardless, it's a blessing to be a Packers fan right now, to be rooting on such a young team that'll get some experience in the playoffs, and this is the future of your franchise. So like it's good. You're playing with house money, like JT said last week. So just go out there strong and see if you can get a win. If not, you got a lot to look forward to.
100%. A lot of house money they're playing with out in Green Bay. Bucks win at 141, 135. Let He Manson get the last word. He says, not normally one to make excuses, but Detroit was literally pulling shots out of the ass. Contested bombs were going down. That's why it was such a battle. Yes, I'm sure there's a lot to clean up, but I'll take the W with the smile. Yeah, I think there were a few that were contested. I think the first half, and I'll agree. In the second half, the Bucks were much better. First half, I thought way too many uncontested threes that went in, but I agree with a lot of that. I'll give you guys last word as the Bucks win 141-135 over the Detroit Pistons. Final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
Hey, it's why you said, like you said earlier, this is why we brought Dame in, guys. This is why we brought Dame in, right? Another superstar that can carry the load. And,
Just never fails. I can't.
He had to sneak one in there. Buzzer beater for
Yeah.
JT.
all right, y'all. Go ahead.
You got Chris.
Yeah, I think it was good to have Giannis back. Of course, I know his shoulder didn't necessarily look that good, especially with his free throws and jumpers and whatnot. But this is who we are right now, and we'll see what Horst has for us at the deadline. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this team can go. I love the ceiling of this Milwaukee Bucks team, and you saw that in the last couple of minutes of this game, closing it out. And I'll also say, good win for my Dayton Flyers. Put the beating on Archie Miller. Probably do a post game here soon. I'll record it and it'll be on our YouTube. So we'll do a lot of content this weekend, and we'll see you next when the Bucks play.
There we go. Looking again for Chris King and the Dayton Flyers post game show. Had a great debut episode the other night, and then tonight they beat. Who they beat in Rhode Island?
Rhode Island, yep.
Rhode Island, yeah, beat down in Rhode Island. Jerron Holmes had a big night as well. So the Bucks win at 141-135, echoing all of your comments. I think, like you said, this is what they are, and we'll see. There's no use continuing to talk about it. Every night, and I don't know what happened Monday night to play Detroit again, but every single game you're gonna see the Bucks are gonna score a lot for the most part. They'll give a lot of points, and you're gonna hope that at the end of the day, you're gonna hope that you put the ball in the basket more times than the opponent. That's the name of the game. And so there's really no point talking about it until we get to the deadline and see how this team changes and what kind of moves that they do make. 141-135. Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons. We appreciate everybody for listening. Want to thank our sponsors here at Daily M. Johnson Law Firm. I said at the law office of Daily M. Johnson, services South Central, Central Wisconsin. If you need defense off the court, call my guy, Daily M. Johnson, at 608-893-8370. Bucks win 141-135. Don't take no wood nickels. Go, Pack, go.